Hello and welcome to Pens, Paint and Whiskers. So, for the month that's in it, typically I don't pay any attention to Valentine's Day or love or anything like so. Well, this time with a channel, I'm going to. And you might wonder what this little fella here is doing as a quite a nice little printout here. I will explain. I'm going to redraw an old OC of mine, and I just printed him out so that you guys could see his original, what he looked like. So yeah, quite handsome, I think, personally, and quite a striking character. His name is Lieutenant John Latimer. And I'm hoping for the team. I was thinking more and more about him over the last while. I'm not sure why. And going with my OCs, I think looking back at him, he is due a little bit of a slight update. I don't want to change too much about him, but I want to draw him, and I feel with his colours, his coloration, so he's quite pale and inky black hair, blue, very quite a blue eye, well, one anyway. He would kind of give over to sort of a, it could be potentially quite a cherubic, is that the word? But yeah, so I'm going to draw him, and I'm also hopefully going to talk about my what I plan for him. Now, if you're a new member to the channel, or if you're just watching along and you've just stumbled upon me, well, first of all, thank you very much and welcome. But if not, some I don't post some of my OCs a lot, and I really want to fix that in 2026. And I just thought for this season that's in it, I'm going to try and redraw some, and this little fella being the first one. So I had an idea a few years ago actually about, I'm just going to check and see, can you guys see it properly? Yeah, you seem to be good on that front. So my OCs that I had ideas for, so my own characters, I had this idea about something called a Sealy, forgive me, Sealy Battalion. And in this Sealy Battalion, basically they're it's like in a Fey realm, basically. I'm not very good at the storylines. You might have all realized. I'm more good at the knowing what I want to draw. It's just the storylines. No, I'm not really a story writer. More story drawer. But anyway, I digress. The Sealy Battalion. So they are sort of, I had an idea they were set in sort of 1700s, 1800s, or certainly they copy that style from our 17 and 1800s. And or they found a sort of a seam in the world, and they could see our world, and they thought, look at their militaria, look at their technology, we should copy it. So they did. And this little guy, basically the Sealy Battalion, he is a lieutenant, obviously. Now, I had to learn some military terms, and yeah, I've probably forgotten them now. And I'm not very correct in my military terms. I know, and militaria is not really a thing I was interested in for a while. But I just thought I like the idea of I like uniforms, and who doesn't? And I liked to draw. I wanted to draw quite a striking sort of a character in red. So yes, his uniform, and this will be controversial considering his uniform. You may recognize it if anyone is in that kind of history sort of buff. It is a sort of 17th century English redcoat. And I do have an issue with drawing them like that. That's why I sort of took a step back from it. I didn't want to be known as the Irish person who only draws red coats. I know, and I can't be the only one. But anyway, well, they're magical ones. So he's the creature that he is. They're all kind of magical creatures. Like I have shapeshifter ones and sort of I don't know, Dryad ones. So basically, I'm hoping in the year 2026 you will meet them all, and I will introduce them in a video like this. But I should go back to the theme of love. I was thinking our lieutenant here, I couldn't for the life of me for ages come up with anything that he would fit into, any team, what kind of creature he would be. And then I started thinking that I was in, funnily enough, I think I was in somewhere, it was a TK Maxx, somewhere like that, and I saw this beautiful candle holder, and it was in the shape of a swan. And it was February, as it is, and I decided for some reason that little light bulb thing that sometimes you get clicked in my head, and I thought, that's a team for him. And for some reason, it's probably because you might not be able to see it, but he has quite an icy blue eye. And we'll get back to whether it's one or two or more in a little bit. But anyway, so he had that, and I was thinking, I like the theme of a creature that he looks outwardly human, he looks quite normal, but is he really? Some creatures of mine can look like people, but they're not necessarily people. So I got back to thinking, and I also said I don't draw a lot of animals. Now, this is the first attempt at a swan I have ever drawn. And I'm not looking at any reference pictures, so I don't know. It might be wrong, it might be right. But anyway, I wanted the theme of a swan and him, because I feel that the sort of creature he is kind of there's an element of water to him. So sort of like one of my other OCs, Brimstone, being a fire mage, his element is fire. This guy, Lieutenant Latimer, his main element, I think, is water. And I like the idea that not like a spirit or not like a nymph. There is a creature I'm thinking of, and I don't think it's a lamia either. But maybe it's a Scandinavian type creature. I'm not sure. Somebody will probably correct me in the comments, as usual. But anyway, I had a feeling that he's kind of like a water spirit, but he's not a spirit. And he's sort of bound to a body of water, or bound to water as a whole, as an element. And it also, in keeping with the term, I've got to give him more of a rib here. So he's tall and thin, but I feel like I could get away with a little bit of a nice love handles on him sometimes. My own thoughts adds to that, but he is, so I'm quite happy. I'm not sure about the side profile here. I might change that, and yes, I have given him an instrument. I might change that to more a harp lute. I'm not sure. I'll have to reference that. And so I'm just basically, I put little sketches on his page, and I'm going to fill them out. So you will see this in part 1, part 2, however many parts there are. So he's sort of, I imagine he's bound to the element of water as a whole. And it looks kind of outwardly human, but when you look closer, like I'm giving him quite sharp claws. When you look quite closer, you realize, well, actually, he's not a human. And I'm going to give him some webbed skin between his fingers. And I know it's a little bit gross, but I'm going to draw a depiction of his feet. So I have to look at feet, and they're going to be swan feet. So that's quite a task, considering I've never drawn a swan before. I don't really draw animals. So I'm going to change that. Now, the reason I chose it, or the reason the light bulb moment clicked in my head, was going back to being bound to a body of water. I also thought, as you can see here, he has an eye patch. Now, would it be interesting if whatever creatures they are, I'm not quite sure yet, a water fae, some sort of creature. Does another of his species, do they have three eyes? Does one set have one and does the other have three? And when they pair for life, I believe swans pair for life, but certainly swans have two eyes. But do they pair for life? And if so, does he have to pair with somebody that has three eyes and a sort of a bond with them is, here's your third eye, here's my third eye, now it's your second eye. Something like that. I thought that's a little bit unusual. I don't know why I focused in on it, but I thought I like the eye patch and I'm going to keep that. And if he has three eyes, I don't know. He may only have one, he may have three. But basically, he is on a little sort of a side quest, we'll say, as all of his kind are. A side quest to basically find the one. And how they know it's the one, I'm not sure, but I'd imagine it's some sort of creature instinct he has. So I'm going to do a tricorn in. I haven't looked at a tricorn in quite some time, so I'm going to try and draw one, and I'll just check and you guys see everything. Yes, you can. I do love a good tricorn. I think probably the best headgear aside from a top hat that you can give anyone. Anyway, I digress. So he spends his main thing is finding the one. So I'm just going to dot that in. I'm not sure I'm happy with that one. But anyway. So he has to find the one. That is his species sort of a goal in life. And I think several species do that. Swans, wolves, ravens, I believe. Quite a lot of birds and certainly water birds, wading birds. I'm going to lean into that. And I don't know whether along his neck or under his hairline he has little tiny feathers, maybe. But they're probably mistaken for that lovely silky black hair he has. So maybe up close people realise if one came loose, actually, this guy has downy feathers rather than hair. But anyway, so he has to find the one. Now, if he does not find the one, I'm not sure what happens in his life, but I think like a little bit like the Little Mermaid, do they return back to a river that they're bound to? Do they just form into freshwater rivers of so a little bit like a siren nearly too, or a water nymph? Do they return if he cannot find the one? Does he just turn into the river again? Does he just turn into the water? Is that like not necessarily a debt, but a sort of his life goal is not being fulfilled? So a little bit tragic, a little bit Shakespearean for him, but I do like that he has that drive. Now I'm going to give him. He hasn't found the one, so Lieutenant Lanimer here is on his own. And his side quest in the battalion, he's probably, the rest of them are probably not aware that's what he is. So they're probably unsure, or they probably don't even think about what he may be. Or they're sort of wondering, but they might not know. And I do plan that he is single, and I plan to keep him like that because I think the drive to, what if I turn into this body of water before I find the one? It is a rather frightening thought for them. But I'm going to put some wording in this in the next part. But that is what I imagine the kind of the mate for life they choose would look like. The eye placement may be different, maybe in their forehead, I'm not sure. But I like the idea that they instinctively know if they come across this rather, I'm going to do a silhouette here and only a silhouette. This with the three eyes, and there's an instinct that kicks in, and for some reason they both know you are my one. So it is a little bit of an old-fashioned romantic notion, and I imagine if he does find the one, there is quite a kind of a long sort of ceremony to it, like months and months of a sort of a kind of dating, courtship. Yeah, courtship. I prefer courtship. So there is months and months to that. And then, yeah, you got to be sure, Lieutenant. So probably what they are sure. Now, if he paired with somebody or he found his romantic partner for life, and supposing he died in a battle or a skirmish or something, I'm not sure. I haven't thought about what might happen. Do they automatically return to this river form again? I'm not sure. Because if so, that is quite tough lines. So he got to make sure that his person, his creature, his whoever he's paired with, he has to make sure that they survive, and they likewise must make sure he survives. Quite an interesting. That was what I was thinking of for him, and when I'm redrawing him. And I'm drawing here, I also say I'm drawing in my little mechanical pencil. I wanted to do the eye thing. It's a little bit weird and strange because in real life, eyes sort of freak me out a little bit. So I wanted to kind of envelop myself with my own fears with art sometimes, drawing animals and drawing things that sort of discomfort me. So that's what I'm doing here. So somebody sort of imagining that what might happen. There's a kiss reference. I'm not looking at a kiss reference currently, but I did on Pinterest. And then a hand reference. I'm not so good at my hands, of course, but his are a little bit webbed, so I can get away with that. So I'd imagine if he's dreaming that he has met the one, there is the eye being handed over. So it looks a little bit like a marble. But I do like that idea, and I'm doing more of a side profile. Now this fella here, so I'm going to dot in the guide for his uniform. Once again, I have to look up uniforms on the likes of sort of guidebooks and things. There's always a resource somewhere. I have to look them up, but from memory, I'm just free balling now. From my years of drawing them, what his uniform would look like. So it's quite distinctive. It's red and it's got the white cross, sort of these white cross designs. So it's quite funny. It does look like a target, and it is very bright. So he certainly doesn't blend in. Now, I also imagine the shoulder of another. This is probably his captain. And I won't say that they have a I won't say what kind of a relationship they have, but it's certainly one built on loyalty and respect. And a sort of what would you say nowadays, a bromancy, sort of a love, a respect anyway, and a loyalty. And I like to imagine that his captain here is telling him, well, Lieutenant, I am not the one. You got to keep searching, boy. And if you don't find the one, well, not looking good for you. I'm not sure how much time they have. Is time a thing to them? Is it before they age, potentially? Yeah, I think so. And under his eye patch, I don't know whether he only has one eye or does he have the three? But I'll have to think about that more. But I do like already, I'm going to frame in maybe the next one, I'm going to frame these in little sort of boxes. I have some nice washi tape. And I'm going to hopefully draw more of a harp loop down here. So off camera, of course. And maybe fix up that side profile. And yeah, I'm rather proud of those two swans, actually. I do like them. So the background of these is going to be a nice light sort of pink, I should say. Because he himself is going to have a red uniform. He's quite pale. So I'm going to put him in, so he's going to keep his red, but keeping in with the theme of pink and red and discoloration this time of year, seasonally themed. I'm hopefully going to paint the background, paint the paper in gouache, pink, nice light pink, and do some sparkles, because maybe I imagine because he's tied to water, his skin might be a little bit sparkly. I know. And I believe to dare his kind, I'm going to do some, maybe the harp lute and maybe the feet along here. But his species, once they find the one, I like to imagine that they don't necessarily. Lieutenant Latimer is obviously a he, but I like to imagine that if the one instinctively that he knew was a he too, well, so what? That is the one. That is fate. You are now not going to be a water return to the river from whence you came. If they are she, yes, good, good too. I like to think that that doesn't matter to them. Hence why he might have mistaken first his captain being the one. Maybe species too, I'm not sure, although the eye does lean into they need their own species. So he might just respect and love his captain in a brotherly way. I'll think about that more. Of course, with teams of love, there are many different types of love. So I want to look into this with him. And he is the OC that I wanted to redo. And he's the OC that I can imagine leans itself into that team. So wading birds, water, undying love, that kind of thing in all its forms, of course. So that's what I'm going to work on for this season with him and redrawing him and updating him. When I come back in part 2, I might have brought his character sort of under the microscope a little bit more, and I may have streamlined it a little bit more. Sometimes when I draw more of him, I think of more of these ideas and he appears more to me, or any OC does. But for now, that is my part 1 of redrawing an OC based on love and swans and water, and in team for this month. So that is the first video of this. So if you're new to the channel, if you've just stumbled upon me and you like what you see, thank you very much. Please consider liking and subscribing. I do this very regularly. Every week you will have a new video out by me. And if you've been with me from the very, very start and you're still here, thank you for sticking by me. And thank you for liking and being here and helping me on this art journey. But I will be back in part 2 and you'll hopefully see these better. So they may probably have colour and certainly more streamlined and more ideas for my OC, because I think he rather deserves it. But for now, goodbye.